everyone. So today we're going to make a double layered skirt for our dolls for Bluebell, and I've made the little bodice up, and what I will do is I will put the link down below to the how to make the dress, the basic dress. Now I've cut this one out so that this will fit a Welly Wishers or a Glitter Girl doll, so it's going to be slightly smaller, but you can use exactly the same pattern, and the pattern will be down below in the description down below. So what I've done is I've cut out a longer skirt with this one, and then I've cut out a shorter one as well. Okay, and I've got them all ready just as it shows in the pattern. I've put the little side pieces on, and I've also put in the hems, so they've both got hems on them and the side pieces. The next thing I'm going to do is onto the very bottom of my piece of fabric, I'm going to sew on a piece of lace. So I've got to get it the right way around. That's the right way around. I don't know if you can see on the lace, it's got a right side and a wrong side. So I've just put a pin in to start me off because I want to keep it on that on that line. So I want to be very carefully moving it around and making sure it stays on that line there. I've got my sewing machine in a straight stitch, and I'm on a nice, not too big a stitch. So I'm just going to come on, take out my pin, make sure I've also got my needle in the down position. So I'm just going to stitch on. Doesn't want to go through it. It's not happy. So, okay. So I'm just going to try and keep that running along nice and straight on that bottom. And the thing about it, as always, is just to take your time. I always find that I make the mistakes when I'm rushing. I'm sorry if the camera's moving. I've tried my best to get a good shot. And hopefully you can see it okay. Just going to carry on in a straight stitch all the way to the end. I'll just do a back stitch there, and then I'll come on, and then what I'm going to do now is just cut my lace now, but I want to leave just a tiny bit extra so that I can make sure it gets stitched in at the end. So I'm just going to come here, and I'm just going to leave myself a tiny bit to make sure that gets stitched in at the end, and we'll need this piece of lace. This was, I think, a metre. Yeah, that was a metre of lace there. So I've had a metre of lace for the bottom of it. So I made the skirts and the bodice out of this fabric here, and I used a fat quarter for that, and I had quite a bit of fabric left over. So I had those bits and a few bits extra left over. And then I used another fat quarter, and I had quite a lot of this, more than this. Again, I had enough to do another bodice out of it as well. So so that was 2 fat quarters I just used. I just like the colour, and I thought it would look nice on Bluebell, so that's what I chose. So I've gone across and I've put the lace onto the second layer. So you've got both layers, and I've got your lace on it. I used about I bought about a metre of lace. I haven't used all of it. But don't throw any of the bits away, because you can definitely use up even small bits of lace, which I will show you later. So you've got that one and you've got that one, and then what I've done now is I've just put some pins across the top of the skirt because I want to hold this in place, and I've got a needle. Sorry, I couldn't see it. You still need to keep on that stitch, but you want to push this up to the biggest stitch you can get, okay? And then you can do this on the sewing machine, but I'm just going to show you, because I don't think I've ever showed you how I do it like this. So basically all I'm going to do now, when I'm tacking, I like to put a knot. You don't have to, it's just my way, because I've done it so many times, and I always leave a nice big long end so I know where it is, so that I can just pull that out from that end. So I'm just going to go in, and I'm just going to do big stitches all the way across. But what you need to do is to make sure that you get them reasonably even, but also keep it at that sort of 1/4 inch length across the top of your fabric. Now if you're worried about getting that 1/4 inch size, you can always have your piece of cardboard beside you and keep measuring it, so checking that you're at that level. Okay, but just try and keep it as straight as you can, because you don't want to be sort of stitching down here somewhere, because otherwise that will make your skirt much smaller. Okay, so you're trying to just keep it on that sort of same thing, and you just go in and out, do nice big stitches, and because all you're doing is gather, and this isn't going to stay on there. Once we've done this and it's sewed on to the dress, we are going to pull these stitches out. Okay, so just keep going, and I've put my pins in just to make sure that both pieces of fabric stay the same. Right. We're just going to go all the way to the end. So when you get to the end, don't tie a knot or do anything like that. Just take your needle off and put your needle away. Okay, and then you can take your pins out, and then we're going to pin it onto our bodice, and then so that is the next thing to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the center of our skirt like that, and we're going to pop a pin in it just like that, or you can mark it with a pencil, whatever you prefer to do. Okay, and then we're going to take our bodice and we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to fold it in half. Okay, and we're going to take it like that, and we're going to pop another pin just in there so that we know that that is the center of our bodice. We want the center of our bodice to fit onto the center of our skirt, and the way we want to do it is so that we've got our skirt, so that's facing upwards, and we want to place this piece of bodice so that it's going down on top of it. So you should have the lines meeting across the top here. Okay, so I'm just going to pin those two things together like that. Okay, and then slip that pin out. All right, that spare pin. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is grab hold of our cotton, and we're just gently going to pull it along. We're going to pull it in until we get the same size as that bodice. Okay, so we're going to just keep going all the way along until we're up to where the bodice is. Okay, like that, and then we're going to lay those pieces flat against that end of the bodice, and we're going to pop a pin in there just like that. Okay, and then so this, now we need to make sure that this fits along there, and we're going to gather that in so it's all nice in like that, and then we're going to take our pins and we're going to pin all the way along. Okay, so just pop them in. This is just a little bit fiddly because it is quite a small bodice, but we're just going to pop our pins in all the way. Oops, let's stop it. There we go. I want to go in that one. There we go, that's in. Right. Sometimes pins aren't as sharp. Usually what I do is if I can find one which isn't sharp, I usually put them in the bin. It's so annoying when you go to grab a pin and you can't get it to go in. And that should do that side. So I'm quite pleased with that. I just want to pull that one down a little bit there, because I don't want any of this fabric coming up above that bodice. Otherwise that would mean that the stuff down the bottom here won't lay flat. And we'll do exactly the same on the other side. So I have it all pinned all along, and the other thing you want to make sure is that where your gathers are, you want your gathers to be sort of even. You don't want a great big lump of gathers one side and then not too much on the other. Okay, so you want a nice even gather. Yeah, that's not too bad. Okay, and then we're going to just go along and we're going to machine all the way along, and I am using my 1/4 inch foot. I should have told you that at the beginning. So we're just going to take it to the machine and we're going to machine the whole thing all the way along. And what I like to do if I'm using a lot of fabric through the machine is just to move it on a little bit, start off sewing, and then do my back stitch. I find it just helps you get on there in the beginning, and then just as you go along, take your pins out. Now some people do sew over their pins. I just don't like it. When it comes off, if it does hit a pin and it breaks the needle, it always scares me that it's going to pop up and hit me in the eye. Not that it ever would, I don't think, but it always just gives me that fright because it makes quite a big noise when it hits a pin. Okay. Okay, and I just did a little back stitch on the end. Okay, so there we have it onto the bodice. So the next thing we are going to do is we're going to take this side and we're going to lay them together like that. And where you have sewn your two edge pieces down here, join that up to there and join that up to there. You want to place these pieces here and put a pin in it like that there. Okay, like that. And then we're going to come down and we're going to make sure every single bit of this is laying absolutely the same. So we're going to come down and put those two pieces over the top of that and put a pin in that, and then we're going to do exactly the same with those very last pieces as well. Put that lace out of the way. I'm going to put these two in here, and you want to come right to the very end of your lace as you're stitching down. Okay, I'm just going to pop another one in there. Alright, so we're going to start here and we're going to stitch all the way down, and we want to come right down over the lace here, and then we want to do back stitch up to here. Alright, hopefully you can see this okay. Okay, so what I've got now is I've got it on, and I've got it on the 1/4 inch just here. And I'm just going to come on, I'm going to set on those pieces, and I'm going to do a back stitch. I'm going to come all the way down. And then once you get to the bottom, do a back stitch right back up to where your seam is. Finish that there. Alright, remove that. Okie dokie, that's worked out good. Make sure that still opens okay. And what I want to do here, just here, is I want to just come across here and stitch across there. Okay. Okay, to there and then back out again. I'll do an extra bit because that is probably where it's going to get the most hold, especially if it's being used by a child. So it's going to just come in there and it's going to hold that in place. So I'll just get rid of all this cotton. So there we have it. It's looking adorably cute. Now all you need to do now is go back and follow the instructions to finish off the rest of the dress, which is on the other pattern. All you need to do is you need to take your zigzag and zigzag right across the middle here, right to the end, and then just neaten up any threads which you've got hanging, and you need to zigzag stitch all the way down there, and that will just neaten everything up. And then you come back and you'll just place your Velcro onto your dress like so. So you'd have a piece of Velcros on this side and a piece of Velcros on this side like that, and that will be your little dress finished. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. Goodbye.